for tuning in. This talk is going to be about the recipe for great entrepreneurs. Um, I co-own a restaurant called Izzy Fook as well, and would love to dig into today's topic. I wore my chili earrings for you guys. See, especially. So I was going to make a great introduction, but that has already been done. So let's get right to it. First, we want to know the two of you much better and your motivations for the path you have taken. So, background wise, Janice was an economics graduate, and WaiLeong graduated with a law degree, similar to myself. But none of you did anything to do with your degrees. Well, WaiLeong practiced for a while. So, why did both of you go into F&B, and what makes this such an irrepressible venture than whatever you had been doing previously? Well, I guess that's for WaiLeong. Let's start with Janice. Janice, why did you go into F&B?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. So really exciting. Well, I think F&B has always been, one of the easiest entry. Entry. There's no barrier to entry actually. It's very very low barrier to entry. And when I say something like that, it's Singapore is it's a very open society where it really welcomes young entrepreneurs as well. Also, it's very quick to set up a business here in Singapore, to set up a company. It literally takes you, between 2 to 3 days. Now with technology, it's even faster to open up a company. And it's very straightforward as well. So more young entrepreneurs definitely have the idea and the dream to venture into F&B. And I totally did that when I was younger and when I was 24 years old. And basically, when I was 24, I had this huge passion for food. I love to create, and I thought, why don't I use food as my medium, as food as my medium in my journey. And from there, I started to look for a space, and I never looked back ever since then. So 2 a.m. Dessert Bar was the first one. It's still here today, and I'm in 2 a.m. Dessert Bar now, having this webinar with you guys. And I mean, it's a dream come true, and people love to pursue dreams, and so I think that's why it's always been this huge topic, why F&B and the challenges that you face. But I think a lot of people, a big percentage of people would have day jobs, and at some point of their investment would be a part of F&B.
When you were in school, did you know that you were going to go into F&B?
Definitely not. I was very certain that I was gonna go into finance and just really start out from there. But I decided, why not try it out since I'm still very young, and Singapore seemed like a great city to do so. Plus, I'm from Singapore, and I have, a great affection for food.
Can we take a quick view of 2 a.m. Dessert Bar? Everyone, 2 a.m. Dessert Bar is the
Sure, I
favorite
think it
top
should
place
be
for many
okay.
people.
I'm using
Because,
my handphone right now, but yeah, sure. So this
yeah,
is 2 a.m. Dessert Bar. I think, yeah.
2 a.m.
I'm
Dessert
like
Bar,
right at the corner.
it's been around for how long now?
Oh, it's been around for 13 years. Yeah.
13 years.
So
That's
there we
longevity.
go.
Oh,
So we
wow.
just finished our first Christmas high tea session. So it starts at 2 o'clock today. It's really exciting. It's a campfire theme that we have today. Yeah, so we do 2 sessions
Well,
every
now,
weekend.
WaiLeong, yours is a very awesome story, and I truly deeply relate to it because I also came from a legal background and left. So why did you go into F&B? And viewers, right now we're taking WaiLeong away from his service time that's about to start after 6. So WaiLeong, tell us more about why you went into F&B.
Yeah, sure. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I mean, just as an aside, imagine if we all had stayed in our old jobs, like if Janice was still in finance, you're still a lawyer, we may actually all be here having this conversation right now, but under wearing different hats.
Yeah.
Okay.
A very different conference.
um, Wait. So Sorry, the question again was.
Why the big switch from
Oh,
law
right.
to F&B, and why F&B in particular for you?
For me, F&B is something that's very visceral, it's real, it's tangible. You can literally hold it in your hands, right? You can create something. And I think there's a certain breed of people, certain tribe of people that really connect with something like that. And when you get the opportunity to produce work, craft, and art, which is that form of art, like Chef Janice, and you can see people's faces light up, you can see their satisfaction. That's something special. Not many professions offer that. For me, that was the seedling that was planted at a much younger age when I would be cooking at home with mom. And being in university, you kind of need to fend for yourself and feed yourself, and I was doing that already. And I knew that, there was a potential future for me in F&B, as in like I would want to enter it eventually, but I thought that I would do the whole law thing first. The unfortunate slash fortunate thing that happened was this little show called Masterchef that happened in my life, which, was this crazy catalyst that I had no control over. It was fun, it was wild, it was scary, it was amazing. Um, it put me in scenarios that I've never experienced before, in the real world. All of a sudden, getting to meet, I mean, like first met Chef Janice like on the show, and after that, shortly after I had the chance to work beside her at an event. Like how crazy is that? So that was the big change that happened. And my plans to kind of go through law first, to kind of build up the capital, was kind of sunk. And I had to, move funds and move resources to get, my eventual restaurant up and running as soon as I could. So that's kind of like the nutshell what happened and how I made it.
So you
Not really a switch.
You practiced law for 2 years before moving, right?
Thereabouts. I mean, more as a trainee. Trainee got called, and then shortly after I moved. Although in those 2 years, the firm was so short-staffed that basically as a trainee I was doing associate work without the associate pay, mind you.
Actually, this is a very good segue into, hey, you were in law, now you're in F&B, but please tell us what is the reality of the F&B industry now versus what you thought you were getting yourself into. Because you probably, I don't know about you guys, or most people think, oh, restaurant business is glamorous. Oh, that celebrity chef. Wow, you got restaurant, I want to come, that kind of thing. So for both of you, share with us some of the highs and lows that you can't find in other industries. Maybe WaiLeong, you want to go?
I'd say that people in general are very easily, I wouldn't use the word fooled, but they're very easy to buy into that dream of like, I'm going to open a restaurant, it's going to be amazing, people are going to come and eat and drink. And then it starts, the dream starts shattering. You realize that, I have to clean uh, I have to clean the toilets on my own because the steward isn't in today. Or the grease trap is clogged and you're up to
You cleaned the toilet yourself before?
That was when, the restaurant first started.
Janice, did you have to clean the toilet yourself as well?
Sure, she has to.
Yeah, I mean, in general, we're a very small team, and I always believe also in teamwork. So definitely, I mean, whatever we can help out the team, it's just really really awesome. Yeah.
You do get your hands dirty. Yeah. Sorry, WaiLeong, continue.
Yeah, I mean, when you get into your elbows up in the grease trap, if you don't know what a grease trap is, ask the restaurant nicely, they may open it for you to smell. Then you know that, okay, it's not a dream, this is more of a responsibility. As a business owner, you got to make sure that things run. And if they don't run, then it's on you. As the business owner, you take up any position that is not taken up in the restaurant or in the business. You fulfill any task and role that's required of you, no matter how glamorous or how unglamorous.
Sorry, WaiLeong, can you put your earphones back on or something? It's a little bit unclear. Do you have them on?
They're on.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on.
Sorry, there's a little bit of echo.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Better now? Better now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So, Janice, yeah, tell us about your highs and lows, having been in the industry for almost 13 years now?
Yep, 13 years. Yeah. Yeah, it's been, I mean, it's been great. For me, since I started, there's just a ton of challenges, but we already knew that. And it's just always how you deal with the challenges, but the passion is still very much alive. Still really love to serve people, and I think the main thing is, like you can really see the fruits of your labor very, very quickly in F&B. And also that's why there's so many of us in it, because you can really, whatever you put in, if you put in 100% and you get some of these, if you're very focused with some of these pointers, you can definitely go very far towards it. And I think that's what we did. The first thing we did was not to compromise on the ingredients, and also to really be very consistent with our products, also provide good service, ensuring also that, me, myself, the founder is always present and also around with the team. And I think these are all very, simple, basic keys to success, but it's very necessary as well, to really keep it afloat and also the brand alive. And that's a real high for me, just really being able to continue to be with the team, to create, and just to be present. So, we really pivoted a lot this year. We changed our opening timings. So now we open a lot earlier. So we are here at 12 p.m. And we started our high tea session at 2, and usually it's 2 to 5. And then we turn around for night service. So then we go all the way until 12. But in the past we would open a lot later and we close at 2 a.m. And that's why it's called 2 a.m. But because of phase 2, we just had to really pivot, change the menu, be present, be very relevant in this time. And that's what we did. And I think that's the true high for me, to just be with, the guests as well. Now, of course, the lows, I don't really remember the lows, but it's just really challenges along the way. So it's
Specific one
whether,
tell us about a very specific low.
specific low. To be honest, not really. In 13 years, it's been a consistent. I've just been really focused at building the brand and just being really present, and also focusing a lot on creativity and innovation. So yeah, it's just really challenges along the way that you will face. And speaking from someone who's been in the industry in Singapore for a while, that the key to that is to really be very focused on the next step to hit, find your solutions quickly, and just work towards that.
Actually, even what you were saying, the fact that you're like, no, I don't really remember my lows, it speaks to character of a entrepreneur must have, characteristic that entrepreneur must have, which is tenacity. Like, you're not going to be constantly thinking about what negative happened, but you're just trying to innovate, create. I think that's a very important one. So let's take the pandemic in view and how it has affected you guys. What should young entrepreneurs prepare themselves for before venturing into the industry, especially what has happened, what's happening now, and what you see for the future? Maybe WaiLeong, you wanna start with that?
Okay. If you are a young entrepreneur and you want to enter the F&B industry,
Yes.
get your basics down right first. Right, know your product, know your audience,
Product, your audience.
product audience. That's market research. Make sure you get your resources and your logistics in place. That means get enough cash into the business first, and really then be ready for an uphill battle, because that's not the end of it. That is just the start. But I think this can probably be covered by most sort of like instances of how to build your business from the bottom up. With the pandemic in mind, and considering that, I think it was the BBC that said that we may get more of these health crises in the future. It may become more regular. We have to be prepared to look at the long game, even though it seems like we're just looking for it's just a 2-year lease. Oh, it's just a 2-year lease.
Right.
We need to be able to read the ground, read the terrain. For example, when DORSCON Orange was announced, it was pretty clear that the country was moving, Singapore as a country was going to move into lockdown eventually, because that was what other countries were doing way before Singapore. So all one needed to do was look at what other businesses were doing in other countries, or just talk to colleagues or friends, hey, what the restaurants and cafes doing overseas? Oh, they're going to delivery. Right, I better get that going there. We need to think a step at it, or try to think a step at it, have multiple contingencies, and once you have the plan, you need to start to fill it. You need to start practicing for it.
Yeah.
So that eventually, if it goes to lockdown, you go, okay, guys, we plan for this, let's go. If it doesn't go to lockdown, you're fine. You just need to be a lot more careful, because now it doesn't take just a competitor or a bad product or bad review to kill your business. It could be something that's totally out of your control, like a global health pandemic.
Yeah. Janice, how about yourself? Because what I was discussing with other F&B entrepreneurs was, if you start a new concept right now or new business, you're actually better prepared for the pandemic, because you're able to take all these measures in place and the potential of something like this happening again. So I don't know, what would you, if you were starting a restaurant now, what would you be thinking about?
I mean,
I'll be crapping my pants.
It's very strange. I mean, in Holland Village, there's a lot of new restaurants opening. Actually, there's a couple of new cafes that just opened. A Chinese noodle shop is open like across us. So yeah, there are new restaurants opening. I mean, the key thing to really overcoming this pandemic and being successful in it, or rather being sustainable in it, is really to diversify. I mean, that was one of the key things that we did, but we're thankful because we have a brand that has been around for a long time. So usually brands that are not as new, brands that already have a following, it's possible to start a takeaway business and really focus on that and just bring that experience to your regulars who have been visiting you for the last 10 years. Right. So that was one of the key things that we did. I didn't think it was ever possible to put our desserts as takeaway. We have never done that in 13 years, but we found a way to manage the hot and cold all in one plate and videos for you to assemble. So that was one of the main thing that we really put effort into doing it. Diversifying into takeaway is one. The other thing is to really do lots of local collaborations. So actually this weekend I launched a collaboration with Meat Smith. We're doing cheeseburgers. So it's really fun. And so we started that, and we're gonna do their cheeseburgers soon in our restaurant as well. And it's just the ability to really connect with people around you and reach out to fellow F&B players and just really say, like, let's do something fun together and everyone can enjoy it. So that's one of the key things I would say. That's my view on how to really be sustainable.
Wow, that's I would say that Janice was very busy during circuit breaker, especially because not only were they trying to go into delivery, they were also doing other partnerships with Jigger and Pony. I think you had another one during the mooncake season, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. There's I mean, almost every single month we have. This month is with Two Men Bagel and Meat Smith. So it's really like a bagel and burger concept. Last month was with Ong Shimugam, a fashion designer.
Yeah.
And then the month before was with overseas pastry chefs as well as Le Matin. So it's and next year is going to be different again. So it's going to be continuous like this for as long as the pandemic is around and beyond it. But I believe that that's really the way to go. As long as we all have fun together, definitely the people in Singapore can enjoy it together with us.
Right. Sounds like if anyone is thinking of setting up an F&B outlet right now, you would be thinking about having a takeaway section as well. WaiLeong, do you have that for restaurant IBID?
We don't anymore because our team is rather small. I mean, I'm counting including myself, it's like 6 people.
Yeah.
We had a very extensive takeaway menu during the lockdown, where we pivoted by killing the entire menu and starting from scratch. Stuff that could travel, stuff that was more comforting, because I think in a period like that, you could understand your crowd, you could understand your customer. You know, it's a rather rough time for everyone, and you can't go out unless you're exercising. And the only real solace you have is that meal. So we did our best to try and do that. Now we don't, but I think, I mean, because we are rather busy right now, but what the lockdown scenario not exposed, but what it made us realize is that yes, there is this great additional revenue stream that can be far from takeaways and deliveries, and we are actually exploring that. Realized that during the lockdown, our baked goods were doing rather well. And so right now, we converted the rear of the restaurant, which is where I'm sitting at right now. Life is pain, life is part of it. We turned it into like our own little bakery center. It's not going to be a huge thing. It's going to be used for development first. And when we actually find a space, I fully intend to do something a little bit more comforting, because right now the restaurant's a little bit more like, I wouldn't say fancy, but it's a bit different. I would like something a bit more down home and comforting. And after all, who doesn't love, a good bake item? So that's what we're doing right now.
Can you show us a little bit of the restaurant?
So I'll try my laptop. Don't know whether if I move the plug. So okay, wine crate. So let's see. Let's do this. Okay, so I mean, my team is just getting all set up. We're just finishing our staff meal, but what you see is what you get, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's an open kitchen, all bars.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically that's that's the opening of the restaurant. My team is just getting ready. Say hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You're saying hi to a few hundred
Wait,
people.
or you don't get staff meal. Yeah, so that's just the restaurant and no chief. Ooh, look, okay. Say hi, Ivan. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah. All right, so that's.
Can we get a special epic table booked? We have to wait till January. I hear you're very fully booked.
You let me know. I mean, we're only fully booked insofar as that we only do one seating a night. I mean, I think one thing that this year has taught me is that be thankful for what you have. Don't overextend. If you overextend and your product is compromised, then that's a little bit dangerous. You want to give the full experience to the people that have been supporting the restaurant, and where you can, you try to fit in some nuance. And then you slowly grow the tribe as they speak, in a strong but gradual way. So yeah, I mean, like we're only full because we only take 26 tonight, and we only have one seating. And when the guests come in, we make sure that we get to know each and every one of them, to the point that some of them have become friends. To the point where like they come around and they give us food. So it's a very different way of running a business.
Right.
I mean, we still got to make the money so we can pay our landlords, our suppliers, and our team in full and on time. That's very important. Yeah. But at the same time, we are just like 2am dessert bar. Like, these are establishments of nourishment and employment, and you have to give people that experience. But it's not like we're not a bank where you come in, you get stuff done, and you leave. Very little satisfaction. You just get it done. You want people to spend time. Not just
I always hear this about it really is the people, it really is connecting. I think Janice also alluded to it earlier, why she's doing it, and it really comes from the team that you're working with and the joy that you get from serving people. I think it's really special. Well, let's discuss the future of food in your view. What we have found is that SFA and A-Star aims to produce 30% of Singapore's nutritional needs by 2030. Do you guys think this is possible? Are we on track? Do you see this as a trend in restaurants using sustainable food options? How are you guys adopting these new initiatives as well? Maybe Janice, you want to go with it? So that I know you have helped you on the sustainable food front.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are very aware of what's happening. We do really keep track of the current trends and also the dietary habits of the consumers.
Yeah.
Beyond Singapore as well. This goes across to Japan and Korea, that we have presence in, and everyone has different eating habits. And I think it's a lot of influence also on social media. You kind of see somebody else doing, let's say, a new diet, let's say with fat, without fat, with sugar or without sugar. And then you kind of want to try it. And maybe sometimes they would try it for 2 weeks or even a month. And when they find that it's good for their body, they kind of maybe turn into to that. So yeah, I mean, WaiLeong and I, we do get a lot of dietary restrictions, more and more these days. And they're not allergic to it. They just basically it's habitual, right? So I think it's very important to be aware of what people want. And I do agree that ASR definitely has been putting a lot of effort into having 30% of Singapore's nutrition in by 2030 to be self-sustainable. I think it's definitely possible, especially when all of us are more and more conscious of what we're eating. And I mean, 3 meals a day, definitely at least one of the meals is that it's going to be a healthy one, which is preferably breakfast, right? I mean, right now my breakfast is a little bit different. It could be just avocado, and yogurt. And in the past, it was like peanut butter and toast, right? So, and it's not that it's a bad thing or not. It's just different habits.
Yeah.
And the investment is true and is necessary. So it is also necessary for F&B to be aware of this and put the necessary investments into this, to be able to deliver different menu standards in the future. So for sure, for us, we are definitely putting a lot of effort into it, making sure that even our supply chain is also very good. So, for example, from our cacao to even sourcing coconut flour, for example, instead of using, let's say, wheat flour in our sweets and confectionaries, using different types of sugars as well and sugar alternates. So yeah, it's a lot more expensive, but it's very necessary.
So what exactly have you been doing on the sustainability and responsible sourcing front for your restaurant
Mm.
and the Janice Wong brand?
Well, yeah, so for the restaurant, it's a little bit easier because there's a lot less packaging, so we can control our supply chain, and we can really source the right ingredients with our suppliers, and we have a market next to us as well, so it's really quite easy. But for the Janice Wong Singapore brand, it's been around for about 7 years now. And because when we do packaging, it's in, for example, 2,000 or 6,000 or even 10,000 units, right? Or more. So when we do a print run, and when you pivot and change that, it takes years. So we started this 2 years ago, where we started with, for example, we collated what were our packaging that are plastic. So for us, it's a little bit difficult because we do use a lot of cling wrap. Is also in our food preparation, just for food safety. But for packaging, what we've done is to slowly phase out our cookie jars that are in plastic, and then change it to glass. Well, glass is obviously a little bit more expensive and it has a lot more restrictions for export, but it is also not the most sustainable model, but yet it is also a little bit better than the plastic, because people can reuse these glass jars that are airtight. And I've seen people use it for their coffee beans at home, for their items. So it's reusable, and it goes a long way. You can reuse it for 10 over years. So in that sense, it's a little bit more sustainable. And all the other packaging are with paper. So that's kind of where we're moving towards. Yeah.
Wow, excellent. WaiLeong, do you think looking into alternatives get in the way of business? And how do you balance it? Because your restaurant's been around since 2018. I'm sure you're looking into it, but there must be challenges, right?
Well, I think the big question for a small player like me, or a small restaurant like mine, would be, if I cook it, will people come?
Mm.
Like, I know that we have the government putting loads of money into these sustainable sources of food, the next question would be who's going to eat it and who's going to do the educating. Now, one restaurant isn't going to make a difference, but if you have larger section of the restaurant market going, yeah, let's do this, let's try this. And I think they did that with Is It Possible, right? They did a big push. Then there's a good chance they can start to educate because there is some education required, using sustainable foods.
Yeah.
For me, we're about to start, but for me, as a restaurant that does savories and sweets, I've always had an idea to just do a fully vegetarian restaurant because I have a sister who is vegetarian and my mom is vegetarian, quite often. Without the use of any without the use of meat substitutes, because I think vegetables are extremely interesting and tasty. And I think that, personally, I feel that is a better move because if you don't want to eat meat, for ethical reasons, just don't eat meat. Because at this point, what is the safety level of cell-grown meat? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
What does it mean down the line? You don't know because these things you ingest it and you need years, years of empirical data to show whether or not it's safe for you. You're barely scratching the surface with things like some of the ingredients that we know and use every day. Now we know that margarine is a little bit, it's not so good for you compared to animal fats. But so we just kind of that's common knowledge now. But what about cell-grown meats versus beautifully raised and grown chicken, free range and organic? So these are questions that we need to ask, and it requires societal, systemic approach to education and then also production. It's not just the farms or the labs starting to grow with government support. We also need to ask ourselves as a society, we should be eating this. And if we should be eating this, is it safe? Who's going to do the checks?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to be, it's putting a little bit too much power in the hands of corporations, of too few corporations, and what if they corner the market? Where are the checks and balances there? I think this is more the legal aspect coming up. Right now.
Janice, what would you?
As for my restaurant.
So for your restaurant, for your restaurant, are you taking any of this into account and changing your menu?
Yeah, with the dietaries, I think it's just part and parcel. You will have dietary allergens and restrictions, they're it's like fashion. Some people just are gluten-free for this year because that's fine. We do our best. We try our best to cater to them. You can't really force them to produce a doctor's certificate and they actually learn it. So we do it. At the same time, we're always exploring more vegetarian and vegan options. I think for any eventual opportunity to open a vegetable-centric essentially.
I think we have a question from the audience. What are the possible food options with evolving and production of plant-based meats? Are you guys using any of these in your cooking right now? Janice, are you in your restaurant?
No, we used to have the impossible meat. But no, for us, no, we don't have the use of the plant-based meat at this moment.
So I think that's an interesting question, right? So Janice, if right now I'm a new entrepreneur, will you be telling me, hey, when you are setting up your restaurant, you should consider using Impossible or Beyond as an alternative, and also all these sustainability movements? Would you
For sure.
new entrepreneur include that?
Yes, I guess for sure. You would also definitely consider other types of dairy alternates. So for example, we do use quite a bit of almond and oat milk now. In the past, we never really used that a lot in our pastries. But yes, that's also definitely one of the alternates that we're using, especially when I was working with our new ice cream range. So it will probably come out after Christmas. Yeah, so that's going to be featured in Paragon. Currently, our Paragon outlet that has all the Christmas items, so we don't have that offering right now. But yeah, I was definitely working on that, and it's very important. I think I myself do consume quite a bit of that as well. I haven't really changed my morning coffee to oat milk or something, but to me, it's very important to be aware. Yeah.
I think so we have a few minutes left. Let me just wrap it up with just asking you guys, what do you think you would tell an aspiring entrepreneur right now are the traits they need to have if they want to come into the F&B industry? Maybe WaiLeong want to take that first.
Um, I think for any entrepreneur entering any industry, as long as it's going to be a business with your name and your finances in it, you need to just be able to take the hits. Because there will be many, many lows, many more lows at the start than, than highs. And you have to find it in you to keep going. Passion definitely is a key ingredient, but just the ability to just say like, yeah, so what was that day, move on. Focus on your team, because in F&B especially, your team, your people are the ones that make the business work. Focus on your team, make sure they're looked after, mental health, financial health. You do your best as a business owner, as a community leader. Look after them, look after your guests, look after your product, and then, well, that's kind of as best as you can do.
Wow. So look after your team, look after your product, get ready to give up on your life.
Yeah, and get ready to give up your life. No, but at the end of the day, like, this is now my life. And yes, I don't have that much free time, but I love it. Like, I get, like, 3 months ago, I never made a single rosary or croissant, like, and we got equipment, and now I'm doing it on a daily basis. I'm learning a new skill. This business, or my business, has given me the chance to keep learning. And how much more awesome does that get? If you want to just like do nothing for the rest of your life, don't be an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, get ready to keep learning, keep doing every single day.
Did life change for you after you won Masterchef in 2015?
It changed for me drastically, because I mean now, like, oh right, okay, so I guess I'm in the F&B industry now. But it changed for me again when I became a restaurant owner, a restaurateur. Well, one restaurant, definitely not. And but even then, I was not ready for it. 2.5 years on since we opened, I'm finally feeling a little bit more centered, a little bit more calm, and a little bit more rested to take on the challenges in a dedicated way without losing my shit, because that happened a lot. It took a lot of time, and yeah, nothing can quite describe it. That's the very first thing.
What did you do to make sure you don't lose your shit?
What now or back then? Because back then I just lost my shit.
Oh, so okay, back then you lost your shit. So now how do you
Yeah,
lost your
I
shit?
mean, now I just, you can have a few like, I mean, if something rattles me, and I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to take a breather, and I'm going to keep in mind, but I'm only going to give a response 5 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now. If I still feel like this is something I can bring up, I think the 5 to 10 minutes, or even overnight, sometimes I sleep over a decision, right? Next day, without any emotional energy, no negative positive energy, you're just looking at the decision in a vacuum, you can make the most logical approach. I mean, after all, logic has to win.
All right.
That is the key. That is the key. Because it's easy to make. I mean, it's awesome to make a decision on the fly and it works, but when it doesn't go right, and whether it's influenced by positive or negative emotional energy, it can get in the way. When you look at a business, it's not just the business and food and thing. You are in charge and responsible and looking after people. People rely on you for their livelihood. you owe it to them, right, to be at your most logical when making a decision.
I hear that be a vacuum. So every day I'll wake up at be a vacuum. How about for
What
you,
would a
Jen?
Dyson do? What would Dyson do?
What would Dyson do? Everyone, like the best line of this session. What would Dyson do? The vacuum cleaner, not the founder. So, so yeah, Janice, tell us what you think are the crucial traits for a F&B owner, and also something that you are doing to manage the stress for yourself, so that our aspiring entrepreneurs can also learn how to manage their own stress. Aside,
Yeah, I mean, in our conversation, where we had a couple of months with Indra from Jigger and Tony, we say the same thing. I mean, it was a lot about resilience, and that's one of the key things. And in this year of COVID, you can really see the F&B that has those that have a lot more resilience were able to pivot and also be relevant to the current climate and consumers. So that is the one key thing that you really need to focus on. Diversification is also the other trait that we do need to have. Also, especially in a time like this, it's very apparent that diversification is one of the key things that would help your business as well. And next is just to be really relevant to the current climate and culture. I mean, we touch on the point, on the ever-changing habits of the consumers. Even when it's not an allergy, they would, kind of, it's a preference, to have a different type of habit and diet. So that's one of the traits that I would say someone would have if you are able to be relevant and just really be able to explore and be open-minded enough to kind of innovate in the right way.
so you said be flexible, open-minded, and be able open-minded to innovate, and also to be relevant. So always think
To
further.
innovation, correct.
And yeah, how about for yourself? How are you keeping yourself calm and healthy during this? Or
I
maybe
I think
managing
to
the
be
stress.
honest, I guess this entire year passed really fast. We barely had any time to really breathe, or even stay at home. On the contrary, we've been really pivoting so much and spending so much time with the new types of, diversification and areas, and all these different collaborations, the local ones that we've never touched before or done before. And that's what's been really keeping us very busy. So yeah, I've been having a lot of time to even kind of manage the stress level. But it's been good. Like I said, it's not been a very challenging. I mean, it's been challenging for all of us, but it's not been especially challenging. And we're just very grateful and thankful that we're able to operate and open. So every day we're just really, really grateful.
I hope you get some time for yourself to indulge in art and creating more art. Viewers out there, Janice is actually an artist as well. Beautiful works that she does. I hope that
Thank you.
will you get any time out to?
Yeah, I guess I hope after Christmas. But then, after Christmas is right straight into Chinese New Year and Valentine's Day. So maybe after that, I guess maybe in March. Yeah.
Wow, it's really nonstop. I so I really do respect what both of you have done, have created. It's incredible. And many people would love to be in your shoes actually, but you really gave the true story of what it takes to get there. And even when you're there, the stresses that you are facing, that hey, being an F&B entrepreneur has its highs, but it also has the lows that you discussed. So thank you so much for joining us today, Janice and WaiLeong. I know WaiLeong needs to rush off to start service at the restaurant, so we don't want to take up too much time. But I'm sure the audience listening in have heard and learned so much, dived into the F&B industry locally, and are looking forward to innovate further. And yeah, reach out to us as well as Janice or WaiLeong to learn more. And I thank you so much to the two of you for spending time with us today.
Thank you for
I
having me.
think
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Next up, we have Straight Out of School, which is happening in 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we would love to have anyone go do meetups or random speed dating in the lounge with us. So with that, thank you, Janice. Thank you, WaiLeong, so much. Congratulations on the efforts that you guys have done to get to where you are and all the different pivots of this year. And I wish you guys well for the year ahead. Happy Christmas.
You guys, Merry
Happy
Christmas to all of
Christmas.
you. Bye.
Goodbye 2020.
Bye. Thank you, guys.